and welcome to the Casual Lane podcast. So, every weekend I do this podcast where I talk about nerd media that is not related to anime or manga or tokusatsu, because I have the nightly tokusatsu podcast, but I decided to spice myself up a little bit and do something different on the weekends. The last weekend of every month, start going forward, is going to be the Cinema Pit and the Anime Pit, but that's forthcoming. That is not yet. So today, we are going to talk about what I discussed at the end of yesterday's episode, and that is the real reason why I have a problem with Ariel being black. Because I know this has caused a lot of discourse, and people were up in arms about it, well, she used to be white, she was right in the books. And yeah, she was depicted as blonde and blue-eyed in the books, and I find it weird when people do this, but I've kind of turned a corner mostly on that, because at least in TMNT, April, the new one, is actually very fun. She's spunky, she's cute, I like her personality. I like the new lead in the new Fairly Odd Parents series. She's very cute, and she's basically me as a child, so I don't necessarily think that race swapping is a bad thing inherently. The problem in this case is that Disney has a very long and sordid history with racism. Most of its movies in the past have been very racist. If y'all remember Pocahontas and how just screwed up that story was, that's another discussion to have another time, because Disney used to take stories that in no way are meant for children and turn them into children's movies, and that is not okay. I do not like most of the older Disney movies because of that, but there's Dumbo, which is just the Jim Crow. Jim Crow, oh god, that was bad. There was the one dude from Pinocchio, I think he's the puppeteer, or that one Romani guy from Pinocchio, which just there's the Aristocats, although I think in that case most of it was passable except for that one really gross Asian stereotype cat. I don't tend to have a huge problem with the rest of it, mostly because I know jazz was invented by black people, so I think in that case it kind of makes sense. But that one cat is just ew. There's Peter Pan, which just 90% of the movie is just grossly racist. And it's creeped into modern times too, where a lot of people said that Encanto was not an accurate depiction of Colombian culture, although I think that was just people being bitchy. Moana, they said the same thing, although there were people on staff from Polynesian culture who were there to make sure that it was accurate, so I'm not sure how much faith I'd take in those people. Mother Gothel is apparently supposed to be an anti-Semitic stereotype, although I'm not really sure that counts as racism as much as bigotry, and I'm not really sure that was intentional. The genie was... I'm surprised nobody brought up the fact that the genie in the new Aladdin was a servant character who was being played by a black guy. That bothered the hell out of me, and I'm shocked nobody else was bothered by that. I find that very weird. He was the best part of the movie, though, so yeah. But it's a really long and sordid history. So when and that's as recent as 2019. So when they announced Ariel was going to be black, I was just like, Disney, please stop fucking doing this. Please stop trying to make yourselves look better by reinventing characters. Because let's be honest, in this case, that's what it is. It's not the fact that they were trying to be diverse. It's the fact that they're trying to make themselves look less racist by race swapping. And it doesn't sit right with me. If it were any other company, I would be perfectly fine with it. But with Disney and the amount of racism that they've had, I can't abide by it. Especially considering they've had this weird uptick in movies that are not about white people, and that's fine in and of itself. But with Disney, it just feels like they're trying to like kiss ass and say, "Oh, look, we're not racist anymore. We swear to it." And I'm like, well, then apologize for all the other crap. Apologize for all the older movies that came across as racist instead of trying to make it look like you're just making all of your movies about people of color, which fine, but you haven't apologized for any of the other stuff. And like people are saying Wish is not a good movie anyway. I have not seen it. I don't know, so don't hold me to that. But people are saying it's not a good movie. Encanto was amazing, but it feels very disingenuous to me that suddenly Disney is pushing all of this, all of these movies that are like, okay, you're doing this now, but like, why weren't you doing this 10 years ago? Why, after the Renaissance era, did you not start doing this? And it feels so weird to me. Now, I will see Wish, don't get me wrong, because I want to talk about it because people have said it's bad, and I want to see why it's so bad. And I'm not saying I'm just going to stop watching Disney entirely, but like, also the fact that in The Princess and the Frog, I had someone pointed out to me, someone who I'm not going to name because I know that name is very controversial on YouTube, and I don't want to get into a flame war on my channel. I had someone point out to me that The Princess and the Frog is set in the Jim Crow era, but never brings it up, which just feels like the movie wants to set it in, and it wanted to talk about it, but it just never bothered. So there's that. But before anybody flames me and says like, "Hey, I'm not," okay? I don't, when, like I said, when done well, I don't have a problem with race swapping. When done by people who I think are genuine about it, I don't have a problem with it. It's just that Disney, you keep doing this, and it comes across more that you're trying to save face than you're actually doing something interesting. So there's that. But tomorrow we go back to your regularly scheduled Tokusatsu show, and if anybody's interested in being a co-host, because I feel stupid talking to myself, so if anybody's interested in being a co-host or like being on this podcast, we can figure that out. We can definitely figure out how to do that. I have 2 microphones, so if I need to like ship you one, or if you're in my area and we need to figure this out, we can do that. But that is it for today. I said my piece, and I'm not going to bring this subject up again because I know it's going to be a rough subject for people. So, yeah, I don't like it, but I'm not going to like keep harping on it. But tomorrow we go back to the Tokusatsu stuff.